last 24 hours. Powered by Yiddish24, provided to you by The Click.
Good morning and a gitten chodesh. Today is Tuesday, Parshas Terimu. Rosh Chodesh Uder, Marbin Besimchu. My name is Gershy Schwarcz and I'm your host on Edge. Today's sponsors are Lucky Me, Lucky Baby, for the Noah Periculous carriage, the bassinet that folds all in one with one hand, Kliger.com, you'll find out more. And of course, some more interesting ones like the Wine & Co, of course, and YS Capital Group, Protobyte, and Arrive Express. You wouldn't want to miss those. But before we do that, the talks in Geneva between the US and Iran has officially finished. Both delegations have left the Omani ambassador's residence officially. Iran's foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi, claims there were good developments, he says. Both sides are now working on the written text for a possible agreement, though no date is set for the next round. He told reporters, "We were able to rely on a set of guiding principles." End quote. Now, Iran made a specific offer. They may be willing to stop nuclear enrichment for up to 3 years and give them time to restock again, and give up their stockpile of dangerous fuel and give them time to restock again. Yes, in exchange, they want the US to lift the full sanctions. I don't think that's going to happen, well, based on clear reports. President Trump says he is indirectly involved in the negotiation with Iran. He told reporters on Air Force One that the Iranians are tough negotiators, but they want to make a deal. Well, of course, Trump warned that the regime does not want to face the consequences of failing to reach an agreement. President Trump is taking no chances. You see, he is taking no chances. He's showing the world that he's a peacemaking president. Yet behind him is a very strong American stick, like Midnight Hammer. Reports say the US is deploying a massive force to the Middle East, speaking of, right now, including 36 F-16s and 12 F-22 stealth fighter jets. Trump has made it very clear. He wants a deal that completely ends the nuclear threat. The Iranian regime is also showing off its power. Ali Khamenei openly refused to limit the range of his ballistic missiles. He said, "The fact that nuclear energy is our undeniable right has also been included in the guidelines of the International Atomic Energy Agency. So why does the US interfere?" End quote. He also threatened the US Navy, saying, quote, "The Americans constantly say that they have sent a warship toward Iran. However, more dangerous than that warship is the weapon that can send that warship, to the bottom of the sea." End quote. Ali Khamenei continued to add, the US president has said that for 47 years the United States hasn't been able to eliminate the Islamic Republic. That is a good confession, I say. You too will not be able to do this. End quote. At the same time, the IRGC terrorists closed part of the strategic Strait of Hormuz for a military drill. They released footage, how they do it, of how they are practicing to take over oil tankers. By the way, Secretary of State Marco Rubio also said that President Trump is open to meeting directly with the Supreme Leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. If he has any other names, let me know. But you know what doesn't have more than one name? The carriage that is a one-folder, smooth glider, great features, adjustable heights, the up and down, seats, laid flat. Have you ever seen it? A seat laid flat like a bed. You can get your kid to just lie flat and sleep properly, not like crouched. Sleep flat on a seat, on a buggy, as they call it in England. Lucky Baby. Call them or text them on 845-951-1600. I tried it myself. Go on to www.luckybaby.be for Belgium, okay? You can call them on 845-951-1600. Delivery, they say, is within 3 to 4 days. Here in America, or wherever you want in the world, actually. Just call them. Order yourself a carriage, the Noah Periculous carriage from Lucky Baby. Again, the Noah Periculous. Ask for that specific carriage because that has a bassinet and a seat included, with all the pictures included. Usually people charge, most carriage companies charge extra money for that. They don't. It's a bassinet that folds away. I tried it myself, literally with one hand. The bassinet and it's quality. It beats all the other brands. Trust me on this. It has never been in America yet. It's a Belgium-made. You can trust. Okay. Terror also continues near Yemen. A merchant ship reported a gunfight with a small boat about 70 miles from the port of Aden. A white boat with 5 people on board approached the ship and called out to it. Then, the shooting started. The terrorists opened fire with small arms and the ship's security team fired backup force. 2 other suspicious boats were seen nearby. Authorities say that they are still investigating the attack by the UK, the UK authorities in the region there. Soldiers from the 7th Armored Brigade in Israel tracked down a group of Hamas terrorists who were hiding inside a tunnel in Rafah. The terrorists tried to escape, but the soldiers were ready. They opened fire and eliminated 6 of them on the spot. Another 3 were killed in a separate exchange of fire nearby. This happened on the Israeli side of the Rafah border, meaning these terrorists were actually trying to operate right under Israeli eyes. In the same time, there was 2 Palestinian children were struck by a bomb that they handled in one of the minefields there. They played around with a bomb in the minefields, and sadly one of them was killed. Medics were sent right away from the Israeli side, obviously, to try and save their lives, but sadly one of the children didn't make it. Palestinian children. Meanwhile, the government has issued a strict timeline regarding Gaza. The cabinet secretary of Israel says Hamas has exactly 60 days to disarm. If they do not give up their weapons from now in 60 days, 59 days now, the IDF will go in and do it for them. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said yesterday that the terror group still has about 60,000 rifles that need to be removed from the strip. At the same time, the IDF discovered a cache of weapons with grenades, RPGs, and drones and other weapons of mass destruction. Tensions are also very high on the northern border in Israel. Reports from Lebanon say an Israeli airstrike eliminated a Hezbollah terrorist, Yamach Shemoy, named Ahmad Tarmas. He was hit while in his car near his home in the village of Taluseh. His son was also a terrorist who was killed earlier in the war. And now, my friends, we can now reveal a chilling new detail about the October 7th Simchas Torah massacre that killed many Kedoshim and kidnapped many of our brothers and sisters. It was just cleared for publication, this detail. It turns out Hamas didn't use high-tech codes to launch their attack. They used emojis. The IDF reveals that on the night before the attack, Hamas commanders sent a specific string of emojis to their operatives on WhatsApp. This was a signal for the Nukba terrorists to swap their SIM cards to Israeli ones, grab their weapons, and head to the border. Sometimes you got to be a little bit stupid to understand your enemy. That is the lesson. The army says they actually saw the same emoji signal twice before, once in 2022 and once in May 2023, when Hamas planned to attack, but called it off right away. Speaking of being a little bit stupid to basically attack your enemy, you got to be Klieger to operate your business. Go on to Klieger.com. And like I said, I had a schmees with him on my Spin the Edge episode. You can find it on Kol Mevaser 118 from the main menu, or you can, in Yiddish, or you can visit on edgenews.com, find the featured episode recently aired on Sunday, Klieger.com. You can go on to Klieger.com right now. You will thank me later. I don't have to tell you more, but it will change the way you operate. I'm telling you, it's 2026, my friend. You don't want to be busy receiving and sending messages from 15 different places. Email, LinkedIn, Instagram, social media, WhatsApp, fax machines, e-fax, letters in the mail, whatever it is. All in one inbox. And not only that, your Salesforce, you can directly send messages to customers, not you, the AI will, or the custom software that they build for you will do all that, send messages of how much money the customer still owes you, or vice versa, all that, and even for personal use. Get all your inboxes in one place with Klieger.com. info@Klieger.com. Klieger without an ER, okay? That's KLEEGR.com. 845-335-3343. You will thank me later. We have a major update on a story that shocked the Jewish community in Belgium last year. Now, I like bringing these updates because I reported the initial story just a year ago. It's hard to believe, Baruch Hashem. Kanai Nahara, we've been producing this show every single day for almost a year now. And Baruch Hashem in Yiddish. I received a lot of feedback, Baruch Hashem. Somebody asked me, he saw my show on a blick. Now, I want to mention something very important. My show is strictly aired on a few places. I'll list them soon. In Yiddish. I've started this in Yiddish, and Baruch Hashem, we have close to 60,000 listeners and viewers combined on Kol Mevaser, like I said, 118 main menu, and another very important kneppel, the Hakol Bakol kneppel. Everyone who knows what I'm talking about. Where hundreds of thousands of listeners a day visit that kneppel. And also, obviously, it's aired on Yiddish24.com, strictly exclusively. It's one of the only kosher sites available that is approved by most of the filters out there. and that's why I made a deal partner with him, and that's where we air our show. Okay, it's exclusive to Yiddish24, sorry. Now, you can visit my website, onedgenews.com, obviously to subscribe, to get notifications when an episode airs, and when and by the way, I have a very exciting episode coming for Purim, Erev Purim. But besides that, I just want to mention to you, okay, that nowhere else you will find it, only there. And of course, the English one is aired on YouTube, specifically on YouTube only. And you can access it via Yiddish24 as well, and also you can access it via thelakewoodluach.com, which is my brother, The Click, okay? Nowhere else. If you find it anywhere else, I didn't post it there. So if you have any questions or comments, please call me on 845-671-1775 and press 5. It's very important that you tell me if you do find it somewhere else, because I'd like to know. Because again, it has to be on the places that I put it on, specifically that I chose. Because like this, we can control and see who sees it and when, and obviously help you when you have a question or you want to report back to me with feedback and everything. Okay. So, like I reported almost a year ago, police in Antwerp raided the homes of 3 expert Moihalim last year. The authorities treated them like criminals. They filed legal charges against them, claiming they were practicing medicine without a license, simply for performing a bris milah. Now the United States is getting involved to stop it. The US Ambassador Bill White sent a strict letter to the Belgian health minister. He publicly urged the government to drop these ridiculous charges immediately. Ambassador White warned that attacking the mitzvah of bris milah is an attack on religious freedom. He wrote that these Moihalim are ehrliche Talmidei Chachomim that have been performing the mitzvah of bris milah for thousands of years, like Yidden have done for thousands of years since Avram Hovini. He also made it very clear that he is not acting alone. He states that he has the full backing of President Donald John Trump and officials in Washington. To show he is very serious, the ambassador plans to travel to Antwerp next week to visit the Moihalim and their families personally. It's going to be on Purim time. Speaking of Antwerp, you had all this time to call if you didn't yet call. So go back and call right now to order your Noah Periculus carriage, my friends. Don't forget that, okay? Noah Periculus carriage from the Periculus carriage from Lucky Baby, 845-951-1600. A one-fold. Can't be smarter than that. Speaking of smarter, make sure to call Klieger, okay? You know what I mean by that. I don't have to tell you more. Now, 3 elderly Jewish women were kicked out of a famous museum in Madrid, Spain. One of the women was a Holocaust survivor. They were visiting the Reina Sofia Museum when a group of anti-Semitic activists began harassing them and shouting slurs. Instead of removing the harassers, the museum security guards ordered the Jewish women to leave. The museum claims they did it for the women's safety, but Jewish groups are calling it an act of cowardice and discrimination. And that is exactly what the Nazis did back 85 years ago. For your safety, they told us. When they tell you we are doing it for your safety, don't fall for that trap again. They ain't doing nothing for our safety. Hashem is the only one doing things for our safety. In other words, we are not buying their lies anymore, and we are simply learning our lessons to trust Hashem only. That's it. Because in Chodesh Judah is a good time to remember that the song I did with Meilech Cohen many years ago, and well, almost 10 years ago now, and all the Rishonim will have a Mapula, and the Yidden will have a Yeshia. So remember to trust in Hashem. Speaking of which, new evidence came to light showing that Qatar is still filling the minds of its children with hate and bloodthirst. Despite promising the West that they would clean up their school system, a new study found that Qatari textbooks are still full of hatred against Yidden. The books teach students that jihad is the highest peak of Islam. They also contain chapters that cover up the crimes of Hitler and blame the Jews for world wars. This is the same country that claims to be neutral broker in the hostage talks, like speaking of lies and when they tell you we are doing it for your safety. Yeah. A revolt started in the state of Maryland here in the United States. The Democrat governor, Wes Moore, recently ordered local police to stop working with ICE to deport illegal immigrants. But the local sheriffs are fighting back. A group of sheriffs announced they will defy the governor's order. They say their job is to enforce the law and keep their communities safe and not to play politics. They did the right thing. They vowed to continue handing over criminal illegal aliens to the federal agents. President Donald J. Trump is hitting back hard at the Democratic governor of Maryland. He publicly uninvited him from a major event at the White House that is happening this weekend. Trump wrote on social media that Moore is not worthy of attending the National Governors Association dinner. He called the governor incompetent and said he cannot fix anything. Trump is furious that Moore and other Democrats are trying to block local police from working with federal immigration agents. While the governor tries to stop the deportations, Trump has made it very clear. He stands with the sheriffs who want to enforce the law. And he has also threatened to cut off federal funding to any state that refuses to cooperate with ICE starting this month. President Trump has issued a severe warning to the kidnappers of Nancy Guthrie. Guthrie is the 84-year-old mother of Today's Show host, anchor Savannah Guthrie. She was abducted from her home 3 weeks ago. Trump said today that if she is not returned alive, the kidnappers will face the death penalty. He said they will face the most severe consequences under the federal law, well, death. The latest update is that all of Nancy Guthrie's immediate family have been cleared and are no longer considered suspects. Now, you don't want to be considered a suspect when you send a Mishloach Munas a tissue box wrapped in silver foil with a chocolate inside that melted through the heat that you tried carrying it with you to give to your corporate friend or business partner. You want to call Wine & Co. Wine & Co. offers high-end corporate Purim packages for businesses to whom class and fine wine is a priority. Their products can be engraved or embossed with your business logo and shipped directly to your clients. Distinguished wines, fine chocolates, and exquisite gifts. All profits support Talmud Torah, OJC, donor funds accepted. Tax-deductible receipts for bulk orders. So call now, 845-306-1204. Mention on Edge to see what they have for you. They have all different styles and all different things that will make you happy and make your clients happy. You never know. Try them out, okay? 845-306-1204. And remember, it's affordable. Not expensive. It's affordable. Try them, okay? I saw the prices. I saw the styles. It looks very expensive. It looks amazing. But you won't spend much money to get that done. With the engraving, with the embossed text, little nishmas, whatever you want. Again, number is 845-306-1204. You can also check out their website at wandcogifts.com. That's W-A-N-D C-O, gifts, with an S at the end.com. All right. Civil rights leader Jesse Jackson has died. He passed away this morning at the age of 84 years old. Jackson was a student of Martin Luther King Jr. and ran for president twice in the 1980s. His legacy with the Jewish community is, let's just call it, complicated for easy language. Well, rocky. He infamously referred to New York City as the Jaime Town during his 1984 campaign. It's a slur he later apologized for. He also embraced the arch-terrorist, Yasser Arafat Yamach Shemoy V'Zichroy. However, in his later years, he spoke out against anti-Semitism and helped negotiate the release of the Iranian Jews who were being held on false charges, for those who remember the stories back then in the days. Now, Be'ilam Shem, in other stories, in other news, might be a thing of the past for online users. Anonymous online posts might not be so anonymous anymore. Reports say the Department of Homeland Security, short DHS, is demanding that social media sites reveal the true identities of people, to them obviously, who post anti-ICE content. DHS has sent hundreds of subpoenas to companies like Reddit, Google, and Meta. They are demanding the real names, emails, and phone numbers of users who criticize immigration agents or track their locations. A horrific shooting took place at a youth hockey game in Rhode Island yesterday. A gunman, a wild person, opened fire inside the rink in the city, the ice rink of the city called Pawtucket. 2 people were killed and 3 others were critically injured. He started spraying bullets on the ice rink. Police identified the shooter as a 56-year-old Robert or Roberta Dorgan, a very sick and woke, purposely confusing individual. In other words, if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. Not only is he suicidal, but he killed a family member and then turned the gun on himself and killed himself. A crazy world we live in today. Don't have to tell you that. The truth is, I got comments from an individual that complimented us on Edge, that we report the news, the style, the tone that we report the news. Even if it's a horrific piece of news, sometimes I tend to spin the edge on it a little with emunah and betuchen. Thank you for your feedback. I appreciate it. It is always welcome on 845-671-1775. Press 5 to leave us a message and your feedback always appreciated it, and I listen to each and every one of you, believe you me. Baruch Hashem. If you think the AI boom is slowing down, look at the hard drive market. Western Digital, one of the biggest storage companies, I have several of them here, in the world, made an announcement. Now, I'm not surprised why my Amazon order didn't go through. They are completely sold out of hard drives for the entire year of 2026. They have zero inventory left. The reason is the massive demand from data centers that power artificial intelligence, AI. These AI models need enormous amounts of space to store their data, and they are buying up every drive they can find. The richest man in the world, my friends, just got a whole lot richer. Elon Musk's net worth has reportedly hit a massive $852 billion billion dollars. Just when he realized that money can't buy him happiness, he is going on. I know what you're thinking now, or not. But if you are, remember, we as Yidden have a Torah. Just a few weeks ago, we reported in that. at Mount Sinai, right? And Hashem says clearly, Liya Kesev Eliya Zohav. Yeah, Elon Musk might have these numbers on his name, 852 billion. Sounds big, but that's all he has. That's all he has, 852 billion. Our Father in heaven has way more, and the most unlimited number of riches you can ever imagine for yourself. You can't even imagine that number. All you have to do is ask Tati. That's it. Just ask him. He has it all. What do you need Elon Musk for? The massive jump comes from after his two companies, SpaceX and XAI, officially merged. The deal values the new combined company at over 1.25 trillion with a T dollars. Because Musk owns such a huge part of it, about 43%, his personal wealth jumped up overnight. Experts say if this pace continues, Musk could become the world's first trillionaire as early as next year. Musk himself went on X to downplay the cash aspect. He wrote, "My net worth is almost entirely due to my ownership stakes in Tesla and SpaceX." Or Tesla, as he likes to call it. And he says, I have less than 0.1% cash. He also pointed out that his employees and regular investors, own over 80% of Tesla, so when he wins, they win too. Bekitzer, he's feeling guilty for being so rich. Come on, Elon. Just know that Hashem owns it all, and just be thankful. That's what you have to do. When you're rich, when you're wealthy, thank Hashem, because he's the one putting you in charge to help the world, basically. You're an accountant for the world. That's why he's trusting you with all that money, to do good with it. He says, I have less than 0.1% of this. Like, being worth 852 billion with only 800 million in cash is like having, basically that's 0.1%. You make a calculation. $800 million in cash is like having a black Amex credit card, but forgetting your PIN code at the grocery store. He's worth almost $1 trillion, but somehow, when the Meshilach knocks on the door, he can still say, sorry, I don't have any cash on me. 800 million. Anyway, I'm joking, obviously. Liya Kesev Eliya Zohav, remember, that's very important. Don't get fooled by all that, okay? Also, when you want, money doesn't buy happiness, but you know what does buy happiness? You. Also, when you want to borrow money for a good investment now in Chodesh Uda is a time for this, as it says in Halacha. Chodesh Uda is a time to make these big judgments, so call YS Capital Group today because they will say yes. The answer is yes. The slogan. Call 718-831-2168. And if you want to design your custom-made software for your business, custom-made, designed for you, call Protobyte on 347-354-1237. You can WhatsApp them on the number below. Again, the number is over there, right over here. Okay? Yeah? There, yeah? Okay? It's 0203-535-6600 or proto-byte.com. Now, if you want to call yourself a taxi, Arrive Express, remember that Noah Periculous carriage from Belgium is very easy and foldable. If you just call a taxi, pack it in the trunk, and so easy with one hand, holding the baby the other. 845-622-1111 and KJ 845-254-1111. Alechtigen Gitten Chodesh, and we'll see you Be'ez Hashem tomorrow. Next day is Chodesh.
Daily report of the news of the last 24 hours, powered by Yiddish24, provided to you by The Click.